Well, I might not be in great physical condition right now, but the Cubs sure are. They found a way to win another close ball game. We discussed that and a lot more on another live episode of Locked On Cubs. Here we go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am Sam Olber. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you, these sweaty fingers, on all things Cubs. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. Hey, guys, I brought a prop for today's show. Are you ready? Are you guys ready for this prop? It's Tums. I brought some Tums in. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that, but so be it, because this is getting a little stressful for me. Okay, I really have to learn to be careful what I wish for, because I all year, all off season, I've talked about, hey, got to play competitive baseball deep into August. Hey, got to win close games. And they're doing it all, and I just feel physically horrendous. I mean, I'm trying to talk to my friends during the game. They're asking me what's wrong. I was just a total wreck in this ball game. I think that's 9 consecutive games that's been decided by 2 runs or less, and I think the Cubs have won 6 of them. And that was really what I said was going to be the key for them. Could they win enough of these close games? And albeit they're playing poor teams, but they're finding ways to do it. Let's break it down. This will be a fun episode today. We'll talk about this game, and then we'll talk about some listener stuff. We also have to get to a Jordan Wicks thing, because I think he might actually start now on Sunday. This game started out like I thought it would, and it was trending in a direction that I thought it would. Cubs were going to pounce on their former teammate, or not really, but former Cub Rob Zastryzny. They kept saying how hard that is to pronounce. It's Zastryzny, isn't it? Is that what it is? It's not that difficult. And then they brought in Jackson, who, if I could be wrong on this, but I'm like 95% sure. He was the guy that the Cubs lit up when I was in LA on Friday. And I mean, lit him up. And they took some really good early swings against him, and then lineouts started to become lineouts, hard hit balls into outs. And all of a sudden you just looked and they weren't doing anything against him. And while that was happening, Justin Steele had a little bit, I don't want to say a rough outing. That seems harsh. 6 innings, 2 earned. I mean, you'll take that all day typically, but he didn't have good command early. He made a very unintelligent play on a sacrifice bunt attempt. First of all, speaking of unintelligent play, 3-0 Pirates are down, man on first, no out, sack bunt. And for whatever reason, Steele felt like he needed to barehand the ball and try and get the out at second. And it cost him a run. And then he gave up a 2-run bomb to Palacios. Then he was able to grind through 6. And I guess, I was saying on today's show, I was so confused why the bullpen's so tired, because starters are going deep in games outside of Drew Smyly, but I guess it's just these close games. I'm wondering if Mark Leiter Jr. is, I don't want to say injured, but fatigued, and they can't say anything because of strategic reasons, because in that 9th inning, there was 2 lefties that came up of the first 3 guys, excuse me, which is usually a Mark Leiter Jr. spot. and he was nowhere to be found, and they went with Palencia. So I wonder if they're just giving him some rest. And they can't tell you that, because if the other team knows Mark Leiter Jr. is not available, it changes the way they handle things late in the game. But anyways, it was 3-3 for a while. Palencia did just enough to get out of the inning. The bullpen was just amazing in this game. Merriweather has had back-to-back his two best outings of the year. I mean, he looks unhittable right now. Fulmer came in, walked the leadoff guy, got out of it with a big double play ball. Just talked about Palencia, and then Adbert had a no-drama 10th. And the big hit in this game, you got to give him credit. It was Ian Happ. It was a little bit weird. The 10th inning started. I was a bit surprised the Pirates didn't go to Bednar for an extra inning there. He threw the 9th. I think he ended up throwing about 6-7 pitches. Maybe it's just because it's not really a meaningful game for the Pirates, and that's why they didn't do it. And it started out, Dansby got Nico got Dansby. Jeez, look, I'm so messed up. Nico got Talkman to third. Dansby walked, and Dansby had some great base running. He advanced on a semi-wild pitch to second, and then Ian Happ hit this kind of little blooper that was misplayed by Connor Joe. It led to the winning run, and it was really good base running by Dansby Swanson, to be honest with you. I thought his base running in that 10th inning, if you're going to talk about a huge difference to the game, it was that. So the Cubs were able to find a way to win, and I don't know what else to say. JD, I thought JD and Boog had a good exchange early in the game where JD was like, the Cubs haven't really taken advantage of this stretch versus bad teams, and they're 6-3 right now. And I think that's what Boog was kind of saying too. And I think it feels a little bit less because the Brewers are on fire. The Reds are playing really well. Arizona's on fire. So you haven't been able to really take that comfortable lead that you wanted to. But, I'm never going to give 6-3. It's been a grind. It's been difficult, but you'll take it. I would love to see a couple of blowout wins here for their last 2 wins if they could win 2 of these next 3. Friday will be difficult. Mitch Keller's a very good pitcher. But 6-3. And remember, I was a broken record, a broken record from April through late June, talking about, hey, this team can't win close games, and now they're winning them. So you can't yell at them for not winning close games and then come back out here and say, well, they're playing too many close games. They've blown out a ton of teams. It's just this last 9 stretch has been really, really tough. They've grinded. They found a way to win 6 of them. If they could find a way to win 2 more this weekend and go 8-4, it's a successful stretch. And then you get into it where it really gets serious, where you play Milwaukee, Cincy, Zona, the Giants. But man, what a stressful couple of days. I feel like I'm just pacing, and the worst part about this is it's not about 9:15 Central Time. I can't really eat much during these games. So then the game ends, and I'll upload, and it's going to be like 10 o'clock, and that's when I got to eat because I'm so nervous. So it's a great feeling. It's better than being out of it. Last thing before we turn it over to you guys, some I would say fairly breaking news from Jed Hoyer on Thursday without really saying much. Drew Smiley, and I kind of want to break this down a little bit because this is where we get to the whole Hoyer-Ross relationship dynamic. After Drew Smiley's porous start on Tuesday, David Ross was quoted saying, hey, it's his first start back. Give him some grace. 2 days later, Jed Hoyer comes out and says, hey, he's not starting anymore. He's in the bullpen. So it kind of, don't you guys kind of just wonder what that's like? Because, I don't know, maybe they made the decision later. Who knows? But Jed said that. And in saying that, Taylor McGregor was doing the interview. She asked some great questions. He did not admit that Jordan Wicks was going to be starting on Sunday, but he also did not deny it. I am going forward with the idea that Jordan Wicks will pitch Sunday at PNC Park. That is what I am going with right now. I think that's what would make sense, or at least be with the team for that game. I don't know who would go down. I don't know, the corresponding moves, but I think it's one of those things that, probably should happen. A couple of other note cleaning things. Keegan Thompson was called up to the big league club on Thursday. Michael Rucker was sent down. Just fascinating to me. The bullpen must be so fatigued. Think about this. For Michael Rucker on Wednesday to throw in a tie game in the 7th and not lose the game. He didn't pitch well, but he didn't pitch poorly. And then the next day, he got sent down. So that just tells you the bullpen is in a very fatigued place. And, the Cubs could really use, maybe like a 7-inning outing from Kyle and a blowout win where they could just not use high leverage guys and eat up some time because they don't have days off. And the last thing I want to mention, I do want to mention this, and I didn't put this in our, pre-stuff, but it's worth mentioning. And this is, I'm going in a little bit of a different direction here. It's a jumbo segment. Cade Horton is really special, guys. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see, but his ERA now in Double-A is down to 1.00. With Jordan Wicks being up, you'd think on Sunday, and the rumors and consistency of PCA, he's probably going to be up soon. You just wonder if Cade Horton could give him a lift out of the pen. It's two separate conversations. This is the best pitching prospect the Cubs have had since Mark Pryor, and it's not even close. And what he's been able to do is really special. And I don't think people quite realize how great he's been and how much he's soared up the rankings in the farm system. I mean, he is, in my opinion, right now, far and away the number 2 prospect in the farm system. And I see some people commenting, well, Double-A is not the MLB. Well, he's not going to be starting in the MLB. He's going to be coming in for one max effort inning, throwing 99 miles an hour with disgusting swing and miss stuff. He probably right now has as good of stuff as anybody on the Cubs roster. It's just a thought. I think what he's doing is really special. And, the Cubs are in a good place, guys. It's stressful. It's tiring. I don't even know what I'm saying right now after these games, but they're in a very good place. Coming up next, I'm going to take some questions, some comments from our wonderful listeners. So please give me your best, type them up, and I will put them on the screen and we will talk about them. But first, this episode is brought to you by Sleeper. And my overlay here. Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 5 million active users in 2022. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports. It's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper is now offering up to 100 times your payout for 8-pick contests. Choose as many as 8 players that you like and pick more or less on your favorite baseball stats, like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Use promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. The Cubs play the Pirates at 6:05 Central Time on Friday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs' hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. All right. Time for my favorite part of the show, getting to interact with you guys. Excuse me. I told you I'm not really in a great place after that game. But let's talk Cubs. Let's talk questions, comments, concerns. What do you have? I'll filibuster until I see some good ones. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Jose was wondering, if you were the manager / front office, what change would you make for Wicks to come up? I'm guessing you mean who would I send down? That's a good question. I think Mastro's still up with the team. So it would probably be Mastro or Wisdom. I think would go down unless there's a pitcher that's up that I'm not currently in touch with, but probably Mastro or Wisdom. Smiley's going to go to the bullpen. I think that would probably make the most sense. Mastro's been on that shuttle all year, so it wouldn't be surprising if it was him. But who knows? Who knows? Good question. Yeah, good call, Matt. Good call, Matt. I should have been on that too during my minor league binge. Alexander Canario, who, if you're familiar, is one of the Cubs' top prospects. He's been battling injuries all year, and in the last few weeks, he's returned back to his old form. The Cubs system right now, and it's kind of not appropriate to talk about because we're in a pennant race. It's loaded, guys. It's loaded. The guys who are supposed to perform are performing, and what this means is the Cubs are going to have so much flexibility in the offseason and the next trade deadline to take some of these assets if there's no place for them and flip them into real major league talent. I mean, this is now, I've talked to a lot of people. I have a lot of friends. I call them sharps in the industry, kind of like sharp gamblers, but sharp baseball people that either work for major league organizations or should be working for them. And this is starting to be looked at as a unanimously top 5 farm system in baseball. And that's pretty special. All right, Maddox, I see you. What's your goal in wins this upcoming stretch? Good question. I would say 2 out of the next 3 in Pittsburgh, 2 out of 3 at home against Milwaukee, take a split in Cincinnati. And then even if you just go 4-3 at home against Arizona and San Francisco, you should find yourself firmly in a playoff spot at that point, or at least firmly still very much in the mix. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but let's see what we got here. Annette. I hope these are actually your guys' names. I know some people put like their YouTube names are different. Obviously, I'm just going to call you what I see. How is Ross doing recently with setting up the lineups? I haven't heard any screaming from the fans the past couple days. Annette, I think I love the lineup tonight. I thought it was really good yesterday. He's went back to his old lineup against lefties where he goes Horner, Dansby, 1-2, which I think is pretty good. I think the unanimous cry from fans right now is Ian Happ batting third instead of Jeimer Candelario. And tonight you have to leave that be because he delivered a clutch hit. But, their thought process with Happ batting third is simple. He gets on base a ton. Cody Bellinger's driving in runs. They want Happ to get on in front of Bellinger. My counter to that is Jeimer Candelario gets on a ton too, and he's a better hitter. So why not just make that flip? But yeah, I think the last couple of days it's fine. And I think Ross is in a tough spot because of people like me that just, they criticize every little thing, and they should. This was another game where if the Cubs did lose, I wouldn't blame Ross. The only thing that was weird with Ross tonight would be if Leiter Jr. was available and he didn't use him, but I'm almost positive that Leiter Jr. must have not been. And like I said, that's not something Ross wants to report to the media, because if the Pirates know Mark Leiter Jr. is not available, they're going to take advantage of that late in game. So here we go. Jeremy says, Sam, I have a pretty reliable source that I'm still in touch with from my blogging days. I'm told that Wicks will start Sunday, but waiting to announce so that Pittsburgh can't scout. Yeah, that sounds about right. I like I said, in my mind, until I hear differently, I'm assuming that he is pitching. EJS, call your shot. Who's coming up when roster limits expand? Well, I think Wicks is coming up on Sunday, and I think Pete Crow Armstrong will for sure be up. I don't know the other parts. I couldn't even call my shot. That's where we miss Matt on the show. That's Matt's wheelhouse, not mine. PCA is going to be here, and he's going to be here soon. The question with PCA, and Jed touched on it today, is like Suzuki's hitting. You can't just bench Talkman. Happ, we know they're in love with him. So like, if PCA goes, and if PCA is on the team and plays, he should be playing center field because he's the best defensive center fielder on the team. So somebody's going to lose a spot. But it might be worth having him. At the very least, having him as a pinch runner late in the games is going to be electrifying. So that'll be that. These are great. Owen Casey, I don't know. I think he strikes out too much, and the Cubs they don't really need another bat. Like if they don't have room for PCA, they don't have room for Casey. Jeffrey, great question. What did Daddy Olber say after his lockdown debut? Did he enjoy it? it made his day. Your guys' comments were awesome for him and me. I really appreciated it. Sometimes when you do a show and you go public, the comments aren't the greatest and you kind of just have to deal with them. It's part of the gig, right? But you guys were absolutely excellent, and we all appreciated it. He'll be on again soon. I could tell you that. Dave, you guys are asking me to just get my predicting hat on, and if you've watched the show this year, I really haven't been exactly great at that. David says, Sam, do you think the Cubs will take the division? I don't think so. I don't think so right now. I mean, the easy thing would be to say, talk to me after the Brewers series, but this stretch where the Brewers have built this lead of 3 now, I think, and having Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta all clicking at once, it's just going to be hard to make up ground on them. This was the time to make up ground. I thought they were going to go get killed in LA. They did. I thought they'd lose 2 out of 3 against Texas, split against Minnesota, and they haven't done any of that. They swept the Rangers, swept the Twins, and they're just kind of keeping pace with us. It's just that team, we always talk about ceiling and floor. They have such a high floor because 3 of their 5 starting pitchers are so good, and they're all clicking right now. So I would lean no, but I do think that the Cubs are going to make the postseason. I do think that. Awesome. What do we got here? Luke, I answered that. I think one of the position players will go down. He's asking about who's going to go down with Wicks. Chris, I think that's a great point. I said that on our Tuesday live. That's my guess is that's when PCA comes up for the Brewer series. Get a little juice in the building. He won't. My guess is he wouldn't play against Miley because he's a lefty. Although he's a pretty hittable lefty, and then, bring him some juice. Obviously, it's a tough landing spot if he starts against those 2 monsters that the Brewers have. But, we could use some juice and excitement. It's hard. Like these guys are tired, man. I mean, they've been grinding. You got to remember, the Cubs have been playing playoff baseball since before the trade deadline. When I say playoff baseball, I mean games that mean so much. I mean, this is a lot. These are a lot of games to be playing. That are so high leverage and so tight and close that have so much on the line. So that's where I think PCA is going to be really helpful for them to just get a guy that doesn't even really know what's going on with the moment, just a loose young kid who's a stud that's just ready to go out and do his thing. Let's see what we got. So somebody might have just corrected me. That's why I needed Matt. Sam, Wicks can't be traded for position player, 13 pitchers only on the roster. Yeah, then one of the pitchers will go down. Is Killian still up? Somebody like that. Somebody that's not really that important will go down. That's why I don't really stress that too much about it when Wicks comes up. It's not going to be Smiley. Smiley's going to the bullpen. We know that. What do we got here? These long-term questions are always make me laugh because I can't even get my mind there. Who would you resign on the roster? I would love to answer the question, but I'm just trying to get a win tomorrow with Hendo on the mound. Yeah, it might be Thompson. That's a good idea. Let's see what else do we got. Yeah, I thought Gary says, does Tauchman have a strong arm? It looked like on his throw to home. I'm surprised Boog didn't comment on that. That throw to home from right today was crazy. In the 9th inning. I mean, that was one of the better throws you'll see. But everyone's mad at me right now because Mike's in a little bit of a funk, so I'm not going to talk about him because people think I have like this crazy bias towards them, and I think I probably do. I have a very soft spot for guys who have grinded their way in the minor leagues and went to Korea like he did. Stud college hitters that are getting their chance. I root for those guys, and I really like Mike Tauchman. Lot of it's so weird. A lot of Hap negativity in the comments today, and my response to that is, I hear you. If you've been a listener of the show, we've went after Ian Happ a lot, but tonight's not the night for that. He won the game. He had a clutch 2-run single. He did his job. So you gotta just leave Hap alone today. I'm not sure about that, Craig, where he says, Hap's clutched. He was tonight. Caleb makes a great point in this ball game. Jan Gomes, by the way, 9th inning, Palencia walks the leadoff guy, and Alfonso Rivas is bunting. did not make sense to me. Great catch by Jan Gomes, who had another tremendous night. To me, he's our captain and our leader. But why would you bunt there with a guy who has the walk rate like Palencia does? And oh, by the way, we remember Alfonso Rivas. All he does is walk. I couldn't believe they handed him an out like that. That changed the whole complexion of that inning. That was bad managing. All right, what do we got here? This is a good one from Cameron. MLB Network released a graphic yesterday with National League Manager of the Year contenders, and Ross was on it. Thoughts? Look, the Manager of the Year award in sports, Coach of the Year, is so dumb. With all due respect, it goes to the guy with the least expectations going into the season that got the most out of his team. It says absolutely nothing about how the team's managed. Buck Showalter won it last year for the Mets. This year, the Mets stink. Did Buck Showalter forget how to manage? You know what I mean? I've never subscribed to the Manager of the Year thoughts. I'm not surprised Ross is on it because people thought the Cubs were going to stink. We had a whole show on how bad the projections were for the Cubs. I mean, I took their over at 75.5, and I'll have that cashed in about 2 weeks, probably less. So that, but those people that vote on that stuff, they don't watch the Cubs play every day. They don't see what we see with the lineups. They don't see what we see with the pitching, how he handles the pitching and the decision-making. So I never take stock into that. But good question. Let's see what we got. Mark Smiley says, what do you think about adding Trevor Bauer to the staff for the step run? I just don't think any teams are going to touch Trevor Bauer. He's dealing right now in Japan, but I just think that the PR that comes with that, I mean, it definitely not for the stretch run. I don't think that's realistic for any team. Over 400 people in the chat right now. Pretty good number. We'll go for about a few more minutes. I love doing this. I think our record after the walk-off, Matt and I got up to about 800 or something like that. So that was pretty cool. I have a little ode. I don't know if Matt's watching, but I have something cool for Matt and everybody that listens every day. You guys ready for this? I don't know if you could hear that. It only comes in my headphones, but I'm playing the Ross laugh. It keeps playing. But anyways, I miss doing that. All right, here we go. I can't wait for Matt to come back. Here we go. I just saw a great question. Do I think the Cubs re-sign Belly in the offseason? I just can't think that far ahead, guys. I just want Hendricks to throw 6 innings tomorrow, maybe 7, score a couple runs against Mitch Keller. Of course, like I have no idea. Like whenever you guys and everybody debates about these signing things, it's so out of everybody's control. What if Scott Boras says, Jed, we want 7 for 280? And what if a team like the Rockies or the Tigers or somebody pays that? Then no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to give a guy $280 million when they have a better defensive center fielder waiting in the wings. If they could talk to Boras and figure out just anything that makes sense, I'm sure the Cubs will pay, 190, something like that. But I can't comment on that right now. We're in a pennant race. The Ohtani thing's going to affect his market. We'll see what happens. Here's a great question, Steve. How much research do you do a day, and where do you get your data? Not much. I get my data from watching the games, obviously like Baseball Reference, Fangraphs. I use that, but I don't do much research at all. The beauty of this show for me, Steve, is that this is what I would be doing if I didn't have a show. Watching the games, breaking it down, tweeting every 2 seconds. So nothing really changes for me. This is me. Matt is much better at the research and keeping up. That's why when you ask about who's going to go down, he's got the roster and stuff memorized. I watch the games and I come in and I talk about it. I don't really do much prep for it because that's not who I am. But great question. Let's go with 2 more questions. I don't want to go too far over 30 minutes. Jordan, great point. Not much of a difference if we win wild card or division. 1 day extra rest, 100%. Right. Brian, so excited for these next 2 weeks of baseball. This is what I look forward to as a fan. I can't wait to, didn't realize that said that, can't say that, but get excited for the games. Yeah, I love this time of year, and it's a great time, and everybody should be appreciating it, having a good time, and enjoying it because, as my dad was talking about on the show last night, there's not many contending teams. We don't get this very often, so you got to enjoy it. And Donnie says this season has been intriguing. You're not kidding. That's a joke at my dad. He used the word intriguing about 6 times in about 30 seconds yesterday, and we all made fun of him for it. Last question, last one. Jonathan, I have a decent live audience right now, so I'm going to answer this. How do I feel about Boog? I want to just clarify this because I think Boog is awesome at being a broadcaster. I just don't think he's great at being a local broadcaster. I think teams and diehard fans like ourselves want somebody to really sink their teeth into and that roots for the team a little bit. And he's just a national guy. But as a national guy, I think he's tremendous and talented at what he does. I hope that answers the question. And with that, I think we call it a night, guys. An absolutely outstanding, tight, close win. Friday night, prime time. I'll be watching Kyle Hendricks versus Mitch Keller. Keys to that game, simple. Get Keller out early. Make them work. See if you can get them out early. Try not to. It's that happy medium I just talked about. Getting them out early. Yesterday I was talking about this, but also you don't want to get to 2 strikes because he'll wipe you out. And let's see if Kyle can stay hot. And Cubbies can keep winning games. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Don't forget that you guys are everydayers, and shout out to the everydayers who are with us for all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you could become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm. We're also on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts and streaming on Sirius XM. I'm Sam Olber, and this is Locked On Cubs. Have a good one, guys. Go Cubbies.